Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Gopher Hole video slash podcast. Today, we have a guest that is probably the second most demanded Caleb Williams in the entire nation. And maybe today, even people are more excited about him than the other Caleb Williams. We've got Caleb Williams, who is the newest Gophers commit, who is coming to us from McAllister. And first of all, welcome to the Gophers.
Thank you. I'm super excited for this offseason and the upcoming year, so I couldn't be more excited.
Oh my gosh, you know what? You were the first person I've interviewed that has gone through this whole transfer portal thing. So I guess what I want to do first is even just back up to you guys played the Gophers this last November or so, and you scored what, 41 points? And I mean, tell me what happened after that. I know your life just kind of and your phone must have blown up.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely crazy for almost a week. It was great. I mean, it's great to get a lot of attention from the media, and I do appreciate that. It's changed kind of both my basketball life and even McAllister as a whole in a few different ways. But yeah, it was really kind of just a matter of, can you hear that? Hopefully you can.
Yeah, is that your phone?
No, it's my computer. I don't know how to do that, so we'll just.
By the way, you guys, we're just going with this, but this is literally probably how Caleb's phone has been all day, just blowing up.
But yeah, just when that first game happened, just a huge outflow of support from both family, friends, old friends that I haven't seen in a long time, and it was just nice to know that we were kind of doing McAllister proud. Not just me, but everybody on the team that's been putting in the work to kind of get that recognition. And I mean, thanks to Coach Johnson for letting us play them. That was huge for us. Just as a college, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Definitely had to shut off the phone for a little bit after, though.
So immediately after that, what did Coach Johnson say? Did you guys have a talk after the game or anything like that?
No, nothing crazy. I mean, just the classic handshake that you give to somebody when you have that respect. I really I really knew that they had a good thing going this year, and so I wasn't expecting them to really reach out in any way. And so, yeah, I mean, just it was a crazy night, and it's just hard not to be filled with a sense of pride after something like that. You're kind of riding high. You got to remember to stay humble, but yeah, it was definitely fun.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, for people who do not know, this McAllister team that Coach Abe took over a couple of years ago has just started at the bottom, and you guys were what, in the conference championship game a year ago? I mean,
2022, I think 2 years ago as of now.
And then you were pretty much a favorite after that.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is not something that is typical to McAllister, and this, taking this to a different level. Can you think of any other McAllister basketball player that transferred to from D3 to D1 directly like this?
No, I actually can't. I don't know of anybody from McAllister that's transferred, especially to a higher level. Luckily, we've had a couple good examples from my conference in the past 2 seasons. We had a great player from Augsburg, Joe Palmer, who transferred to Colorado State, and then Raheem Anthony last year transferring to St. Thomas. And so they're kind of role models for this. I definitely reached out and asked them for advice. So they were great. Yeah, just resources.
2 players that I've loved to watch, and I've gotten to, obviously see Raheem live at St. Thomas. My only regret for him is that he only got 1 year there, but he absolutely blew it up. What kind of advice did those 2 give you?
Yeah, there's a combination of 2 things. One, you really just have to follow your gut. Whatever your instinct is, that's kind of generally the right choice. And another thing was that you just have to bet on yourself, right? I mean, anywhere you go, there's going to be people that are doubting or questioning your decision or the coaching staff's decision to bring you in, especially taking the jump from D3 to D1. That's not something that people probably see often. And so they were just encouraging in that sense. And yeah, they've just been nice. I more so was asking questions about their experience just to kind of figure out if they were happy with where they went, and they both ended up loving their experience. And so that gave me a little bit of confidence to kind of just make a decision and kind of run with it here.
That's awesome. So kind of talking about this whole portal experience. So did the interest that you already knew you had, was that your deciding factor to enter the portal to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's no like real communication from other teams while you're in season, especially not to a D3 player, for example. And so I kind of had a feeling that there might be interest just because of, especially from that one game from the jump, but also just my career at McAllister. And so I didn't know for sure, but we kind of had a feeling that there might be a lot of teams interested, whether regardless of level, maybe that's other D3 or D2 schools, or maybe even D1 schools. And then once I entered the portal, that's when we really knew that it was the right decision. And then that I would be able to have an opportunity to play D1 basketball somewhere. And so, yeah.
So do you feel comfortable saying the other schools that were interested in you or that reached out?
Oh gosh, it's hard. It's one of those things where when you enter the portal, lots of teams probably have coaches that are just watching the portal at all times, and it's their job to reach out to people. And especially because I was in the portal before D1 players, I had a ton of interest. I probably got texts from like 30 D1 schools, and then emails from a bunch of D3s just through the portal account. But from there, it's kind of hard, right? It's hard to decipher who's really interested and who's kind of just reaching out to reach out. And you kind of get a feel for that as time goes on, who continues to touch base with you, who's interested in like getting you on calls with the head coach, for example, or inviting you on visits. And so through that, there was a lot of turnover, actually. And I really only seriously considered or thought I was going to get to visit probably like 4 or 5 schools. And I only ended up taking one other before I went to visit the Gophers, and that was UC Davis in California. But yeah, it was just crazy. And it's their job to recruit people, right? So you don't know if what they're telling you is honest or things of that nature. And that's why it's such a gut feeling that you have to go with, because I met with the coaches from the Gophers, and they all felt like, and I felt like they were all great, just great people at the very base of it. And so that's always a comforting thing.
What coaches have you specifically connected with, and tell us about your visit and what you really liked about Minnesota?
Yeah, so most of my contact has been with Coach Adele. I've actually never asked him to pronounce his last name. I hope it's Adele. But he was my primary contact throughout this whole process. And then I got Coach Johnson's number after a while, had a good talk with him. And then eventually they got me out to campus like 2 weeks ago or something like that. And I was able to really just see the facilities and see what they had to offer. And yeah, whether that's the practice facility, I've been in the barn already, so that was something I didn't need to see. And yeah, just to get a feel for the people that are part of the organization, really, the academic advising team, administrative people, athletic trainer. It was really great to get to talk to all those people, and they were all just great. And so that was a big reason why I felt comfortable with this decision.
Yeah. What did you specifically like about Ben Johnson and his style?
Oh my gosh, it's really. We sat down and had a meeting when I was on my visit, and he was just really straight up. And that's not something that you see a lot when you're in this recruiting process. And we both know what was returning to the Gopher squad this year. We knew how hard it is to really compete at this level, especially for somebody like me. And it wasn't discouraging, but the fact that he was so honest with me and really down to earth is really something I think would be a great personality to play for. And I just think he's really putting the team in the best position to win. And so that's kind of the vibe I got from the conversation. And yeah, it was great. Can't say enough good things about the people I met on my visit, for sure.
That's awesome. Obviously, you haven't played for him yet, and you played obviously for Coach Abe for a couple of years. Like, what differences do you see? Because I'll even bail you out of this one a little bit. I know Coach Abe is a hard ass, and this is being one of his friends. But like, what do you see in their styles being different as far as coaching goes?
Yeah, it's hard to tell right now, having not played any games. But Abe cares about the sport just as much as we do. He cares about winning in the same way, and it's really awesome to have a head coach that cares that much.
Oh, sorry, you just cut off for a second. Could you just repeat the last sentence?
Oh yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep.
I was just I'll just reiterate, Abe is just a coach that you really want to play for. He cares about the game just as much as you. And he's really doing everything he can to help you guys to help us win. And I think that he's a player's coach, if that makes sense. That's a term that's kind of thrown around a lot. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a switch going from that freedom of being the guy at a D3 level to being having a different role, obviously at a D1 level, and so that might impact how the coaching situation is. But yeah, I look forward to learning more about Coach Johnson, other than just the small things that I've learned from having conversations with him.
For people that don't know, you average what, 35 points a game? Like that's your average from last year, correct?
Oh no, that was actually a mistake that was printed all over the media.
I was like, geez, no wonder why you're getting 30 schools
crazy.
calling.
That was pretty crazy. Yeah, I wish it was the case, but we have 40-minute games, obviously, and so that was my minute average. I played 35 a game. I was like around like 23 points, I think, junior year, and then I dropped to like around 20 this year. And so that's kind of the real thing, sadly, if I have to admit. Not 35.
That's impressive. Plus, weren't you still your steals, and were you the leading steals on your team? And then also, as far as rebounding go, especially being a guard, you were second in rebounding on your team, weren't you?
Yeah, that's a big thing. Our 4 and 5 went down with injuries this year, and so if we wanted to have a chance, the guards really had to rebound. And Kobe Gold was a great rebounder from the guard position. And yeah, I definitely probably could have got more. But yeah, that was definitely a point of emphasis moving forward.
Yeah. What do you feel, and also too, what do the Gophers coaches tell you that you need to work on your game the most in this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just defense. It's a whole different ball game. Everybody's bigger, faster, stronger. I like to think that I'm pretty athletic just from the simple standpoint. People probably haven't gotten a chance to see that yet. So I think I have the capabilities to take that jump defensively to be a really good defender. And with that comes conditioning, right? And so it's just really, you can't get on the floor unless you're going to be able to defend and work hard and get all the loose balls and be that guy that the coach can trust. And so I think that will be the biggest thing this summer is really, it's a great opportunity to play with really good players every day. Probably get beat up on a couple times, hopefully beat up on other guys a couple times. But yeah, I think there's a lot of room for growth, but I think with these resources that I have a chance to make that jump.
Obviously, there's been a lot of turnover with the Gophers and the portal and everything, but are there certain players that you've really connected with and bonded with already?
I've only gotten to talk to a handful of guys and for a short time, but obviously a guy everybody loves is Parker Fox. He's gone through this portal thing before. He's battled with serious injuries and just an overall great story and just of resilience and facing adversity. And so I think he'll be a great role model going into this year. And I just think, yeah, we'll see what the final roster looks like too. I never know who I'm going to be able to meet still yet. There might be other guys joining, and so I'm excited for that. But yeah, it seems like contrary to all the craziness that's happening in college basketball these days, it seems like they're a great group of guys who care about each other. And I think that's an important thing.
That's awesome. So like with Parker, obviously, when he came here, there were the people that knew about him at the D2 level and got excited about him. And then there were people like a D2 player, like, and then there are going to be people that say you're a D3 player. Like when did you know that you were going to be able to play at this level? And how would you describe your game to people that haven't seen it?
Yeah, those are great questions. I think starting with the questions that come with being a D3 player, or in Parker's case, a D2 player. I mean, yeah, they're completely right. You haven't proven yourself at the D1 level yet. But I think if anyone gets a look at me, whether that's in practice or a workout, I think they'll realize pretty early that I'm not like the average guy. And it's that confidence that really you have to carry with you if you want to be successful, even with a new role. You really have to be confident in yourself. And I think in high school and at the D3 level, my job was to score, right? And that's high volume. That there's pros and cons to that. I consider myself a shot maker. If I had to use one phrase to describe my offensive game, shot maker would be it. But Yeah, I think other than that, I'm just excited to see. Oh, shoot. Did I lose you?
Yeah, we lost you. So you left, I think you left off right at high scorer. If you could just repeat your answer a little bit. I don't know what's going on with these technical difficulties. You'd think in 2024 we'd have this set, but but yeah, if you could go over that again.
Yeah, sorry. I'm in the basement of my college house right now, so I doubt the reception's great, but I can start over. I just my job at McAllister was really to score and put the ball in the basket and have high volume, and that was kind of the role my team needed in order to be successful. Even if I wasn't necessarily making shots that day, the attention that comes with being somebody that can score from all areas on the court kind of opens things up for other people.
Yeah.
And so, if I had to use one phrase, I would say like shot maker has been my kind of my mantra. Like tough shot maker has been my mantra in my career so far. Obviously, things might change when I get to the Gophers, and so in that sense, I'm ready to really just be whoever the team needs when the time comes at this point next year. Whether that's, I mean, that can be anything really. I'm one of the guys that's really going to buy in, regardless of role, and really just work hard to get better every day, give the team the best chance of winning possible.
That's something I've loved about your game, watching you for the last couple of years, is you are absolutely fearless and you are that shot maker. Like you don't lack the confidence, which is fantastic because obviously there are always going to be naysayers. And if you miss shots, you know, that can go down. But like you never, like his confidence always been a great attribute for you.
Yeah, I think it just comes with having a lot of preparation, right? Knowing you have what it takes to be successful, and really just once one shot goes in, knowing that you're in a mode that nobody can stop. It's just a great feeling. And yeah, I've struggled with kind of holding in my emotions at my career at McAllister. I'm kind of known for doing some crazy stuff after threes, but yeah, it's just that confidence is so powerful for you and your teammates to feed off of, and I think that's something that we got used to here at Mac, having that confidence and a little bit of that swagger to kind of make up for areas that we didn't have as good of a matchup, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You mentioned you're living in the basement of this house. I've heard about your Berkeley house, or is it Berkeley Avenue?
Oh yeah.
So tell us about your living situation now. It's kind of legendary.
Yeah, I live in I'll say it's a great house. It's definitely a college house for sure. With four of my teammates, and so we're just down the road from the campus, probably a 5-minute walk. And so as far as location goes, we're in a prime spot. And yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to living with five ginormous basketball players in the same house. But we'll leave that for another time. There's definitely I like the pros.
Yeah. Is it going to be hard to move out?
I think so. One thing, just graduating from undergrad and being a grad transfer, that's really underrated, is how weird it is to be like leaving a school and just to start that next chapter. It's exciting, but also you definitely are going to miss some things for sure. And one of the great things about Minnesota is that I'll be in the area and hopefully can still be a part of McAllister basketball from like a vocal standpoint or just a supportive standpoint in the future.
Yeah. So just to clarify too, you don't get any like extra COVID year or anything. You're only going to have 1 year, one grad transfer year for the Gophers.
Exactly. Just 1 year. I ended up playing 3 years at McAllister because our first year at the D3 level, we didn't really play any games. And so that was my COVID year. And then I had 3 years of eligibility at McAllister, and I have one remaining. And yeah, so I'll be graduating in just a few weeks from McAllister.
I don't know if you know this, if I've ever told you, but David Roddy was my favorite college player for 3 years at Colorado State until he went, you know, obviously to the pros and now actually the Suns that the Wolves just beat. But I remember putting out a tweet like, who's going to be my favorite college player now? Like, what do I do? Who do I support? And Jeff Munichie, who is basically like the messiah of the Timberwolves, who knows everyone, everything, knows every basketball thing. He literally said, Caleb Williams and Andrew Rohde, those were the two suggestions that he gave. Like, how does it feel like that someone at the Timberwolves level that had seen you play was like, this is the guy? And this was over 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's really an unbelievable feeling. I remember you, maybe Coach Abe sent it to me or something, that tweet. Um, but yeah, it's really just a blessing to really be able to perform and have the opportunity to do so in front of like people and media, and have an opportunity to like kind of scale up, or like really just represent the college in a good way. There's lots of really great players out there who aren't as fortunate as I am to have kind of the spotlight on them a lot of the time. And so, yeah, it's definitely a great feeling, but it makes me just really thankful to have had the experience I've had so far at McAllister.
I mean, there are a lot of things about the portal that are not positive, but do you think that one of the positives as guys from D2 and D3 have the opportunity to move up? And was that ever your goal, even when you were being recruited at McAllister? And I don't even know how, if you were recruited heavily by other schools either. I mean, you come from what, Wild Rose, Minnesota, or sorry, Wild Rose, Wisconsin, population under 800. And there's questioning if there's even a stoplight in your town.
Oh yeah, there's no stoplight, that's for sure.
That's
Um,
for sure.
but yeah, in a sense, recruiting, I was just recruited across the country for the D3 level, and I always thought I had it in me to play D1, but I wasn't afraid to go D3, and I think there's lots of great opportunities everywhere for players that are in high school looking to make a difference, have a great experience in college. Um, and so in that sense, I wasn't necessarily expecting to get an opportunity, and that's why COVID for me was kind of a blessing in disguise. But yeah, I think the portal gives a lot more guys the opportunity to play up. There's obviously pros and cons to that. Guys are going to be flying around. But yeah, it gives you a chance to kind of build a story and know that the dream's not dead, no matter where you're at, from JUCO to D3 to D2. In that sense, it's great. Unfortunately, that does take away from high school seniors a lot, right? Like it's hard. Like it's hard to compete with maybe a 3-year veteran in college if you're a senior in high school looking for a roster spot on a team somewhere. And so I think they've taken the biggest blow. But yeah, for me, I'm thankful that it's really been beneficial and given me an opportunity to kind of play at the highest level I can.
Yeah. Kind of going back to that whole portal experience. I mean, you don't need to necessarily say specifics or numbers or anything like that, but is it a big thing, like school X being like, we have this many dollars for you, and school Z, like obviously you've talked about the character of the coaching staff and how comfortable the you felt, but like how much of a factor is the money in it now?
I think for a lot of guys, it is a big factor at this point in their career, just because they might not be making money playing basketball, or as much money playing basketball in the future. And so in this sense, it's a chance to kind of, I think, get like paid for what they're doing. For me, it was never a top priority. It's obviously something I listened and heard schools out about. And that's something that definitely depends on the level, right? Certain schools may not offer like full scholarships to everybody on the basketball team. Maybe it's a partial, maybe it's half, maybe it's 3/4. And then the NIL collectives can kind of help make up for the rest or add on top of that. And I think for me, it was just never a really big deal because I'm excited to earn a master's degree and not have to pay for it. And so in that sense, I think it's just perfect. Having a scholarship is great news. And hopefully I can cash in on the benefits from the scholarship later in terms of the money.
And by the way, so people that don't know, when you're called a student athlete, that you truly are. You have a 3.94 GPA, first team All-American in men's basketball. Like you are actually like you've broken history at McAllister. So what do you want to pursue in grad school now?
Yeah, so I have an undergrad or a bachelor's degree in mathematics and then also physics. And so now that I'm committed to the University of Minnesota, I'm going to start looking at what they have as options for master's degrees. As far as one-year programs, that probably lends itself more into the business sector of what I'd be able to complete in that time frame. And so we'll see, hopefully something that can utilize my math background and maybe teach me a little something about the business world too.
I can see you exceeding in the business world. That's for sure. Speaking of that, you had another job on the team too, because since you don't have an equipment manager, I heard you did the team's laundry. Please tell me how this came about, and please tell me you got paid for it or something.
Yeah, so thankfully I did get paid for it. Part of my financial aid package here at McAllister was that I could get an on-campus job. And so I got hired as, I don't know what they call it, but somebody that works in our athletic building. And that means that I was the odd man out when I was a freshman, and I did the laundry every day after practice myself, but I got paid for it, right? So it's not all bad. And there's been days where I complain about it to the guys. I'm like, oh my gosh, 4 years doing laundry every day. And then they just tell me I'm getting paid for it and to stop complaining. And so that's fair. I get just paid an hourly wage to like wash, fold jerseys, hang up jerseys, practice jerseys and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see who takes over that role next year. That'll be a big point of contention, I'm sure.
You need to give a master class in time management too, to have almost a 4.0 GPA, be the top player in the team, and be washing these. I mean, I'm sure these are gross uniforms. You guys work hard and you sweat hard. So like that's not a glamorous job. Like you could almost, I feel like your story and Parker's also needs to be made into like a movie, because it's like you go from washing uniforms at a Division I or Division III school to now having an offer from a D1 school.
Yeah, definitely crazy. It's something that it's not as crazy to me now because it's kind of been my reality every day for the last couple months. But yeah, if you would have told me 9 months ago that this would be what's going on, I wouldn't have believed you. And so, yeah, definitely been a storybook career here at Macalester, and hopefully we can continue to or have a good ending at Minnesota.
I have no doubt about that. I do think that you also have a supporting cast coming with you too. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about your mom? Because I feel like she's going to be a Gopher super fan. Like I remember the first time I saw her at a game, I think you were at, was that Crown College? And I just remember this woman that was like, so she knew every bit of X's and O's. She was focused like you were on the court, but sitting there. And like, so tell us a little bit about her and what Gopher fans can expect from your mom.
Yeah, I've definitely stressed my mom out a lot in my basketball career. She's a great supporter and fan. And when I tell you my parents are crazy, they're crazy. They live in Wild Rose, Wisconsin, or did for most of my career, which is about 4 hours away from where I go to school now. And I can count on one hand the number of games that they missed over the course of my 3 years playing here. And so that means a 4-hour drive up, watch the game, biting your nails, yelling at the refs, and then turning around and driving 4 hours home the same night. And so, yeah, my mom's definitely a super fan, and I'm lucky to have her. But she'll let you know that she's in the building for sure.
I love that. We need more of that. And she's a teacher too, right?
Yeah, she was a teacher for most of my life, and now she's actually running like a nonprofit, I think. And so I don't know the details on that. I'm a little bit removed from the family now that I'm out at college all the time. Yeah. But yeah, doing great work, I'm sure.
I'm sure. I'm just thinking about how exhausted I'd be after leaving your game at 9 or 10 p.m. and driving home and then still working. Yeah. So that's just fantastic. I love it. I'm literally looking at my questions. Like, is there anything that I should be asking you about that was any part of your decision or something that was like, because you didn't grow up a Gopher fan. You grew up in Wisconsin. But like, you kind of morphed into to following the Gophers more when you've been up here, or you just really have you been focused on your game?
Yeah. So spending 4 years in Minnesota, I think Minnesota is a great basketball state for one. And so that's kind of hopefully getting ushered in as a part of the Timberwolves franchise now. I came at a good time. They're pretty darn good. And then also following a lot of the Gophers, I was able to make a couple of the border battle games between Minnesota and Wisconsin at the barn a couple times. And so in that sense, it's great. The Big Ten is the conference I watched on TV growing up. And so that was definitely a positive compared to other high majors that may have been texting. And so, yeah, it's just kind of full circle, really. And I'm happy to be a Gopher. Definitely no good feelings towards Wisconsin at this point. They're officially my enemy. So you don't have to worry about that.
That's what we needed to hear. And last thing I wanted to ask you about too was you also are, like, when you said you bring athleticism, you are actually like a state champion in triple jump, and you also did that at Macalester, correct?
Yeah. So I won I was all state in both the long jump and triple jump in high school my junior year. I had no senior year because of COVID, so no seasons, no chances to redeem that. And then I was an all-conference jumper at Macalester too for I think 3 years. And so that's not something I've continued this year. But yeah, there's definitely some sneaky bounce in this body for sure that people can look forward to.
That's gonna be like your nick. Yeah, I love a sneaky bounce. Yeah, do people need it? Like, what are your nicknames? Do people need to know any of these?
Oh gosh, nicknames. I don't know. But unfortunately, I'm joining a couple other guys that have pretty great bounce too. Parker Fox is a pretty fantastic dunker in his own right. And then Brennan, we all know how high you can get. So it's definitely, I'm joining a good cohort for dunks, hopefully.
I literally question if Parker was if he actually tore his ACLs. Cause I'm like, there's no way you could do what you did this last year with 2 of those surgeries.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely a crazy specimen for sure. I remember his put back over somebody maybe earlier in the season, and he just rose above him. I think they called a stupid offensive foul or something like that, but he pretty much baptized the kid. So yeah, that's when I knew that he's back for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm so excited that he's back as a Gopher too, because I know he was like, I mean, he's what, 24 or 25. And he's like, you guys, like it's a long time to play basketball,
Yeah. I mean, I'm not too young either these days. I'm 22. I'm getting up there. And
Did you say 22?
Yeah, I'm 22. Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. For me, that feels old. I've been around the game for a while. So yeah.
I mean, you can look at 22. I mean, because Anthony Edwards is 22.
Yeah.
So like compared to him, you're old and you're still in college and everything. But yeah, there's just a range there. But do you have any other message to like say to Gopher fans or about, your excitement over this commitment?
Yeah, I'm just super excited to be a part of the team. And I think one thing I'll say to the people that still aren't convinced is, I mean, I'll earn your guys' trust. And I said this earlier in the interview, but I'm really here to do whatever the team needs. And that can be anything. And so I'm not here with entitlements, with expectations that are through the roof. I'm just your guy that's going to buy in and really do whatever it takes to hopefully win those extra games that put us over the edge. And so whatever my role is, just know that I'm here and I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Caleb. Totally appreciate it. I've loved following you for years, and I am so excited you're going to my alma mater, and I can just like watch every single minute of your games now.
Yeah, no, thank you for the years of support so far. It's been great, and I can't wait to hopefully do you proud.
You will. I have no doubt. Thank you.
Yeah.